Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Bertha.
And you're on the road with Brian and Bertha.
Or you will be on the road with Brian and Bertha.
Sooner or later.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully.
We just got an offer on the house, which we accepted. And it didn't take very long. We've had a couple people that were interested. And we did take the offer. And then the fun begins.
Right. Because before we got the offer, we decided to sell the house. There were things we knew we had to work on, replace some steps, replace a couple older doors that need to be done, and maintenance stuff that, have been on our list for a couple of years, and this made us finally do them. All right, so I got the new steps all done, and like I said, I'd let you see them now that they're all done. So a little different from what they were before. I don't believe it. My wife is actually attempting to do this. Clean the deck. Well, that one's already done, so don't keep doing the same one. You got to move on. Yeah, that's just a little darker than the rest. You're doing a good job. Yeah.
And we had to have this septic done. When you live in a rural town, you have a well and you have a septic tank. So we ended up having them come to drain the septic. And
she always liked talking about shitty subjects. Or is it crappy?
Crappy subjects. But people that have a well and septic would know this. But if you live in the city and you're on town water and septic, then you wouldn't have a clue. Or you might, but you don't have to worry about it.
She doesn't have one either, and she's been living on well and septic her whole life.
Oh, God, the abuse I take.
Anyways, and of course, when you get an offer in the house, one of the first things they do is a home inspection. And there you get to find all the things that you didn't think of.
Right. One of the things was mold in the attic.
Right. Who goes in your attic?
Especially when you just have a scuttle?
Scuttle hole.
And we never looked up, we never go up in the attic. So when they came to do the inspection, they found mold in the attic.
Right, not a lot, just minor. We redid our roof a few years back, and we made it tighter so it's not breathing as well as it should. But it's one of those things we didn't think about.
Right.
So,
right.
But what we did discover, because once they told us we had some mold up there, I called our insurance company, and they said they would cover it, but they only cover it because we have a scuttle hole for access. If we had a stairway to the attic, even one of those pull-down ones that a lot of people put in, it would not have been covered because they call it known versus unknown. If you have steps going up, they figure you're using it for storage, you should keep an eye on it, and you would know that you would have mold. The scuttle hole, they figure you're never going up there, so it's unknown. And so they do cover it. So luckily they covered, I think they covered up to $10,000.
And the thing is, we would advise get more than one estimate. Get at least two, because the first estimate was way high.
Yeah, we got one estimate for $14,000. They wanted to strip all the insulation out of the attic, do all the mitigation, and that didn't include putting the insulation back or fixing the issue.
Right.
So that would have been, I don't know, another $4,000 or $5,000 to re-insulate the attic, put 2 feet of blown in up there. And then the other estimate came in at $5,800. They're not going to remove any of our insulation. They're going to cover it with plastic, mitigate the mold, and then solve the problem by putting in some new proper vents and insulating around some of our bathroom fans and replacing some of the vents up there with insulated pipe versus the old aluminum pipe that we had.
Yeah, because for $14,000, I would have went up there myself, pulled all that insulation out. I don't care, but I don't think I could get my big body up there.
You have to build a bigger scuttle hole. I probably have to put the stairway in so she can get up and down on an elevator.
Yeah, right.
And then the insurance wouldn't cover it because now we'd know.
Yeah, right.
We figured we'd show you our scuttle hole in case you don't have one or haven't seen one. Ours is a little bigger because it's in the hallway. A lot of times in homes, most homes, you'll find them in closets. Our last house, it was in the master bedroom closet, and you had to weigh about 20 pounds to get through it. This one's a little bigger, but that's a typical scuttle hole, you know, for access to your attic. But like we said, if you have a scuttle hole and you've got mold, you didn't know about it, your insurance company should cover it. So we have Octagon Cleaning and Restoration out here. They're working on mitigating our mold in the attic, and they're also gonna fix the issue we're having for why we're getting mold in the attic. So they're gonna be installing some new propper vents. These are the heavier plastic ones versus the styrofoam ones. So probably have that done between today and tomorrow. Today's upstairs. He said he's got to start doing some grinding on some of the mold because it's a little harder to come off. The bleach and the other, whatever it is, acid or chemical they use, isn't quite doing it. So, but yeah, but they're here today. They'll be here tomorrow. So we're getting things done so we can finish prepping for the new owners to move in. Again, it's Octagon Cleaning. They're out of Windham, Maine. The other thing that we never thought about, we've been in this house for 25 years, is radon. So we've never done a radon test in our house. And they came in and did a radon test in the basement, and it came back at a 5.7. State recommends anything above a 4, you should do some type of mitigation.
Right.
So again, you should get pricing on that, because we got 3 quotes on that one from between $1,150 and $1,800. They're all doing the same thing. All the quotes for what they're going to do is exactly the same. It was just all over the place for pricing.
Right.
So.
And that's money is, insurance doesn't cover that. Homeowners insurance will not cover that. So that's money that comes out of your pocket. So just to be aware, to get 2 or 3 different estimates from different people. We had a company, we had a company come out today called SWAT Environmental to put in our radon control, radon mitigation system. So what they do is they drill down through the floor, if you can see it here, the concrete floor, they remove a bunch of the gravel below it, and they put this 3-inch pipe in. That's a monitor to let you know how well the fan's working. They go up and they go outside. They go outside the house, virtually put a chimney on with the fan. And then they build this white pipe chimney with a fan on it. Just goes up the edge of your house. I think they would have topped it so rain doesn't go in, but I'll have to ask them about that. So it's designed to pull the radon out from underneath the slab in your basement, supposedly lowering the count. So in a week I get to test it again and see where the levels are. We were at 5.7, so hopefully it comes down to like a 3.5 or something. They also plug the floor drains with a dranger drain that seals the floor drains up so that no air is coming back through, no radon is leaking in through the floor vents. Other than that, they did a water test. That ended up, they didn't do the water test right, so we had to have that redone, and our water is fine. When she says they didn't do it right, usually when you pull water out of your faucet, you let it run for 5 to 10 minutes. But you should pull the aerator off and bleach the end of your faucet inside and the exterior, because that eliminates any bacteria, because that's where bacteria grows, is right there at your faucet heads. So they didn't do any of that when they took our water. They just ran it for about a minute, grabbed some water and left, and it came back
the only thing it said it had in it was bacteria. So we bleached the faucet and retested the water ourselves just for bacteria. It was fine,
Right.
which is what I assumed. Not that it would have been a big deal to eliminate the bacteria, because typically you just throw some
Bleach in your well.
bleach tablets in the well and then run your water for a while. So
But we've never had problems with the water at all, ever. So we knew that there had to be some kind of error.
you're right, because we had just tested it a year ago
Right.
for
and it was
ourselves.
fine.
We do it every few years just to make sure it's always good. So, but those are the little gotchas that we didn't think about, in selling the house. So it's something you might want to look at if you're thinking about selling your house. Maybe peek your head up in your attic, see if you get some mold. If you live at least in Maine, I don't know how
Right.
prevalent radon is the rest of the country, but Maine, because we're full of ledge, and this house actually sits on ledge, and radon's a gas that comes out of that ledge and seeps into your house. You might want to have that tested. You can buy a test at Lowe's for like $12, $13 and send it out.
And have it tested yourself.
Right, and do it yourself, or the inspection companies come in with a bigger machine that sits there for 48 hours and tests the air. So
Right. So it's just that some of this we had no idea. And when we sold our house, when we lived in Sanford, we didn't have any of that test. They didn't do anything like that. So we didn't have any radon done. So I don't know how long this has been going. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, they started testing homes for radon. And people that we spoke to said the same thing, that when they sold their house, they had to go through the same thing. And so the same with the mildew in the attic. Friends of ours that sold their house also had mildew in their attic as well.
I think it's pretty common, especially in New England. Our houses are hot and cold all year long. So all your moisture and the heat rises in the winter into the cold attic and creates frost and gives mold a place to build. So, but that's a couple lessons learned on getting ready to sell your house. Like she said, we do have an offer, and
Hopefully everything will go through, and we will have 30 days, 40 days,
once we set a closing date.
and then we'll be on our way.
We'll be out of the house anyways and on our way somewhere.
Yeah,
We don't know
right.
where yet,
Right.
but somewhere.
Because right now we're going to look for a place to stay for 2 or 3 months until we can, the weather be warm enough to get the camper out, or until we find a
Right.
camper.
Right. We'll probably just rent a place somewhere around us until May 1st.
Right.
But then we should have a camper and be able to either get on the road or at least get into a campground for the summer. So with that,
We want to say good night, and don't forget to sign up on our webpage and sign on to otrbb.com.
wow, do that again.
otrbb.com.
She's got it right twice. Do you believe it?
Only took me 3 months.
At least. Anyways, remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And what else?
I think that's it.
That's it. So hopefully we will see you on the road sooner or later.
Have a nice evening.
Good night, all.